Hello and welcome to Diamonds and Duds. I am Ivan.
And I am Charles.
Welcome to episode, can you believe we're in episode 40, Charles?
I know, it is hard to believe, but yes, episode 40.
And we haven't done a lot of like cartoons or anything, but we're doing a cartoon today, Charles. We're doing Dungeons and Dragons, the early 1980s TV show.
Yeah, so this is 1983. It ran for 3 seasons. Now, the bulk of the episodes were in season 1. Season 2 and 3 only had like 6 episodes.
Which I don't think was unusual for the time. It felt like a lot of times back then they would do a whole bunch at once.
Yeah, so like 27 episodes total for this across its run. A group of kids are thrown into a fantasy world where they must search for a way home armed with magic weapons that an evil tyrant wants. Yeah, that an evil tyrant wants. Dungeons and Dragons.
The creator of this was Mark Evanier. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he did probably one of our favorite cartoons as a kid.
What's that?
Garfield and Friends.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, Garfield and Friends.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
But yeah, am I crazy? Was this come out before the D&D like anti-hype kind of thing? Or
this was before the scare.
That's
before the
because I'm thinking of Stranger Things was set mid to late 80s.
Mid to late 80s.
But I also know it's not like that's supposed to be time.
Yeah, so it's like right. So I think the Satanic Scare was more in the mid to late 80s. That because the D&D, but also they started targeting some of the heavy metals. Your Ozzy's, your Metallica.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Some of the stuff, but yeah. So this was before. When D&D wasn't really all that well known.
Yeah, and to kind of go over my actually the other thing that a lot of times I'll do is go through the Rotten Tomatoes. This doesn't have a score on Rotten Tomatoes, which I'm not surprised about. I was though happy to see that the creator of this was involved in he had a whole bunch of like cartoons that he did a whole bunch of stuff for. Our D&D, like my brother and I have kind of, for lack of ever, fallen in love probably with D&D over the last was it 4 or 5 years?
No, it's longer than that. Our family group's been going for 6.
Okay,
a little more than 6.
So we basically started on 5e, right?
Yeah, we started with 5e.
Yeah, we started with 5e, and so this I was looking. This would have been before 2, after 1. It was called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
At the time. And it's something that as kids we thought it was really cool. We had a really shitty computer as a kid, and we had a bunch of those old like role-playing games. It was set in that was I believe 2 kind of thing.
Forgotten Realms.
The Forgotten Realms, like Curse of the Azure Bonds, Secret of the Silver Blades, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we have.
I just played Secrets a couple years ago.
I
have them all on GOG.
Yeah, I have them all on GOG. I haven't logged into GOG in a while. GOG has sent me numerous emails saying, "Hey, why aren't you logging in?" And it's like, it's because there's Steam and stuff.
Yeah. So basically, if you're not a D&D person, basically, essentially, fantasy, swords, sorcery, wizards, all that kind of stuff. One of the things I did really early on, though, like in this show, is after the character introductions that we'll get to in a minute, where they, I paused and I went through and I Googled and I made sure to identify each character's class.
Okay.
Now a couple of the names have changed over the years, but I use the modern names, and that's then how I referred to them in my notes the rest of the year.
So let's start there. The one key thing, if you go to watch these, and they kind of threw me off. We were talking about this a little bit before we started. On the first episode is The Night of No Tomorrow. It gets confusing because in modern days there'd be like, hey, a quick pilot episode. Yeah. Because basically what the plot of this is. Do you want to?
Yeah. So basically the plot is this group of kids. They're at a theme park. They go on seems to be like a roller coaster, a ride, we'll say, that's Dungeons and Dragons. So they go on the ride and they get transported into the land where Dungeons and Dragons. So there's these 6 characters, and then the dungeon master, weird as shit, aloof, guy character, which is he's in Terror. But yeah, so that's kind of and all that have like them. That's like in the opening
That's
5, 6, 10 second thing.
it's basically in the what do you call intro of every episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's to help the person that watching. But like it threw me off initially because I'm like, oh wait, I must be on the wrong episode,
Yeah.
is what I thought.
Yeah. And so they get dropped in, and then like basically, so in Dungeons and Dragons, they advance levels and stuff like that. You start low, go high. There's no real level advancing in this one in the show, but it's important to note because, and if you do have if you do are listening, watching this, because we're video now, and you play Dungeons and Dragons, you or your group, if you're the DM, no longer has the ability to complain about at a low level facing too hard a thing off the bat, because
This gives you free reign to do whatever the fuck you want.
these guys get dropped in to the world and they're facing Tiamat right away. Just for those of you non-D&D people, this is with not being hyperbolic. That's not being hyperbolic. Sending a squad of 3-year-olds to fight Godzilla with nothing. Basically said, all right, couple 3-year-olds, take down Godzilla solo.
Yeah, it's basically what that is.
Yeah, and it's what it's tongue in cheek. It's fun. It's just
It's not meant to be serious. It's because what's funny about it is that there's the 6 characters, which my brother will explain them and what their classes relate to in a second. But what it's interesting is like none of them really know how it would even work. But like what I love about this show is it also doesn't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
It knows what it is, and it's not going to spend because each episode's like 25 minutes roughly. It's not going to spend 5 minutes having like person A, okay, how do my abilities work?
Yeah.
It just sort of, and I think that's where, truthfully, the leveling up, quote unquote, I'll say that in quotations over the course of this, is that they figure out over the course of these 3 episodes how their stuff works.
Yeah, and again, if you're going to watch this, you got to go with the mindset. This is a 1980s kids cartoon. Think like G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Lots of us on that. It's a 1980 kids cartoon. Why did they choose Tiamat? You don't think about it. Joking aside, you don't think about it from a D&D perspective.
Now, what is Tiamat?
Tiamat is a huge legendary 5-headed dragon that like big parties of at level 20 routinely just get killed instantly. Like it's hard. It is a hard. My understanding, it's a hard win at level 20, or at least close to level.
So our party in our family home game is currently 16, 17.
We just
hit 17. Please don't have us fight Tiamat. I don't think we're ready.
Yeah, but why did they go after? Did they do Tiamat? Because Tiamat's a known quantity.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It wasn't like they're not trying to level. It's like Tiamat's cool. Tiamat's a known thing, and they did a similar thing in episode 2.
Well, and that's also
fine.
And also, bluntly, it was a super smart thing by the creators of this, because this would have been kind of D&D would have hit pretty big from what I understood. The 70s would have been way before my brother and I, not way before, but way before we were conscious, kind of thing. But what I love about this is that you didn't have to name him Tiamat, but like they name him Tiamat. They don't explain how important he is. They just sort of leave that there as an Easter egg for anybody who is fans of the game, which I thought was a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. So So we have 6 characters, a party of 6 people. Most of them I didn't really bother remembering their names. I think
no,
they're color. And some of them are color coded. We have a guy that's mostly green that has a bow and arrow. He's our ranger. In this archery, maybe archery finding path. He's kind of like the leader. You have a guy that's like Goldie. He's kind of a dick. He's kind of the resident, negative glass. The glass isn't half empty. The glass is poison and it's gonna kill you, guy. He's Eric, the fighter.
He's listed as a cavalier in this.
Yeah, kind of different.
Yeah, because actually, look, that was actually the name of it at the time, which was kind of cool.
You have basically a horned helmet shorty. That's our barbarian. We have pointy hat, green pointy hat. That'd be wizard. We have the female no armor staff nowadays she's a monk. There's a different name at the time, but monk.
Acrobat.
Yeah. And then kind of probably she less of a role in the first couple episodes, but she is our rogue at the time. They used to call it thief.
Yeah.
She's our thief slash rogue. Apparently, in modern days, there's been some more probably on internet cartoons like that, some other iterations where they've added a cleric.
Oh, okay.
But it's not been. I don't think they've been official continuations or anything like that.
That's cool.
But yeah, so those are our. Oh, plus also they meet because because it's a kids show. They meet and they befriend a little small unicorn they named Uni, who's kind of responsible for getting them out of the shit that they get into. Uni's got to be the one to fucking bail them out.
And there's a few times where what I find funny is that almost they make a point of having Uni get frustrated.
Yeah. Uni gets a little sick of the bullshit at times. But yeah, like I wrote down like, oh wow, Tiamat right away in episode 1. LOL. So like Tiamat.
Oh, and the dungeon master, and we'll refer to it as DM. Basically, for those of you who don't do Dungeons and Dragons, DM's kind of the person running the game, basically. Which he's a character too. Yeah.
So kind of Tiamat's kind of kind of chasing, but then Tiamat runs into basically Tiamat. He's not. I guess he's not. Tiamat's not the bad guy. Not going to be also. Think of him more as like a force of nature. He's enemies with this other, Venger.
I think that's what they.
Probably honestly designed to be a Vecna kind of.
I agree.
And Tiamat, Tiamat kind of goes away because he kind of goes off. And then Venger is going to be our overarching villain, our Skeletor, our Cobra Commander, our Megatron. I didn't really watch a whole lot of Transformers, so
I don't know why. It was no particular. It's not because we didn't like it. It's just
So he's that the guy that they're gonna have to foil in most every single episode.
And basically, what we're gonna find out over the course of this is the reason why is because the Dungeon Master gave each one of these 6 how they became their character class. They each get a special item.
Yeah.
Like the Barbarian got a club, the Ranger got a bow, the Mage or Magic User got his hat.
Yep.
The Cavalier got a shield. Yep. The Acrobat got like a staff. A staff. Thank you.
Staff.
And then the Thief got a robe that kind of makes him invisible.
Makes him invisible.
Think of the Harry Potter robe.
Yeah, exactly. Because first, they're facing Tiamat and they're just themselves. Like, oh fuck, this is a 5-headed. Yeah, Tiamat has 5 heads, by the way. Tiamat has 5 heads. Yes, I'm still learning how to do the video. I put my hand the wrong way. It's a 5-headed dragon, and each head does a different thing. Each head's independent. So in D&D, if you're riding a dragon, there might be a fire dragon that can do a fire spray every so often. The Tiamat can get a fire head. He got a ice head. He got a poison head. He got an electricity head. And he can do he doesn't have to wait for a recharge. He can just kind of do, each of them. And so oh God, we're gonna die. So DM can give some of those.
I'm gonna reiterate that I hope we don't fight Tiamat. But yeah, it starts with the characters are climbing a mountain and they run into Tiamat, and it kind of has a really cool way to introduce you to all the characters and what they can do, because basically all 5 of them are going to attack it.
Yeah,
basically.
I do have a funny story about.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm not gonna tell fully because it's actually a story that I watched on another YouTube, another YouTube channel. But basically, there was this DM had a adventuring group. He brought in Tiamat, right? And the idea was for the first encounter, it was okay, it was gonna be kind of push him close to the limit, and then then they'll fight him for real later on. One of his, I think it was his wife, was a rogue or something like that. I don't remember whatever she did. She because they were pretty advanced level. You're not fighting Tiamat at level 5. She one-shotted him.
Oh fuck!
Like whatever combination of her stuff, her skills, she one-shotted him. And this is like for like his. Then the campaign was to like big bad right away. Then you develop. She ended the campaign in episode 1, in session 1. Yeah, so that was pretty fun.
I can only. I haven't been a DM too much, but I can only imagine what the DM would do then.
Yeah. So he had recorded an episode like they do their session, but then they have other comedy different shows and bits and whatnot.
No, that's.
Yeah. So we see right away the wizard kind of sucks at wizarding.
Which would make sense because I think they're supposed to be the equivalent of level 1.
Yeah, and like so he's learning. He's also not confident. It's also a kid's show, so it's kind of like
Yeah, and it's like to make it easy for kids to figure out how this works. It's like, hey, all his spells come from his hat.
Yeah,
he has to use his hat to do spells. It also is an easy way to have comedic aspects to.
Yeah, and also one thing to keep in mind is again, this is 1980s cartoon animation, and in that there's certain rules they have to follow. Don't expect in this show for the wizard to cast like a fireball and kill and kill an enemy. Like a lot of people may not realize, but like in the He-Man cartoon, He-Man was banned from ever using his sword as a weapon. Never happened. He would only chop wood, things like that. He-Man never once. There was never in the original He-Man. It was banned. Similar thing with the Ninja Turtles in the beginning. The Ninja Turtles show went like 12 seasons. So, but in the beginning,
eventually that stuff has changed. But like especially back in the 70s, 80s,
they had certain
early 90s.
Yeah, they had certain rules,
like broadcast rules. They had.
Yeah, like the original, like the Ninja Turtles could not use their weapons like directly on, like they couldn't stab a foot soldier, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So like, don't expect that like, they'll use their things, but they use their things there, but they use them in different creative ways. That's why not all of them are weapons.
But also, can I mention something? You mentioned that and it makes sense, and I'm looking back, but like the way they go through this, it never even dawned on me that they weren't doing any of that.
No.
So
they're pretty fluent and good with that.
But also, like for example, when the bow, you would think, hey, that's going to really fuck up the bow guy. But it doesn't, because he uses, like, they make a point of saying it's a magic special bow.
Yeah.
And he basically has these special arrows that he can do shit with. And they don't, again, it's a kid's show. They're not going to dwell on, okay, how many of, that is basically, he says what it does and he gets to do it.
Yeah, and I love in the show how it's because it's a cartoon, because how readily they just accept and love their new reality. Like they're gonna, like, they want to try to get home. They're like, okay, this is all right. This is reality now. We're in a land, we're in a land of magic and monsters. All right, So, like, again, it's because, they need to have, every episode needs to be self-contained and all that. I'm not knocking. I thought it was, especially for a kid's show, I thought I enjoyed that.
Exactly. And basically, what I appreciate, it sounds like the beginning of each episode, the DM's going to set them on like a path.
Yeah.
But also the DM's kind of a dick, which, no offense, kind of, it's kind of what a DM is. A DM's kind of, because part of the DM is their enjoyment is fucking with their players.
That's true.
And that's what I truthfully took, because you would think the DM would say, hey, because we're going to be spoiling these episodes. So it's like, you would think he'd say, because it's clearly obvious that the DM knows that Merlin is Venger.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell the group that Merlin is Venger. He just gives them this weird fucking riddle they have to figure out over the course of the episode to figure out that Merlin's not Merlin, that Merlin died 1,000 years ago, and that Miss Merlin wants to, well, not kill them, take all their shit, basically.
Yeah, Merlin wants to steal their stuff. Because yes, DMs can be dicks. I mean, I remember one time when I was a DM, they were doing a dungeon for this and that, and one of there's enemies sometimes invited. There's puzzles. There's trap. There was one trap/puzzle. They're trying to figure out for a while. They didn't want to trip it. And they used a bunch of they used some spells. They used some abilities, this and that. And this is like an ancient dungeon, only to discover that the trap puzzle was broken. was broken, and I put it in one because I thought it'd be fucking funny, but also I'm like, hey, if these dungeons have been around for like hundreds of years out, sometimes they're gonna break. They're gonna break. So I just thought it'd be funny. So yes, DMs can definitely be jerks.
And two things. One, let us know in the comments what the most fucked up thing your DM's done to you.
Yep.
At the run the risk of Charles reading those before me and doing that to us. But I actually heard a funny one, Charles. For me, it was probably on TikTok.
Yeah.
What a DM would do to his players. He had a group of 5 people. They all met at a bar, and one of the first things they had in their first little part was they had a chest.
Yeah.
One chest was real, one chest was a mimic, and they got through it and everything.
Yeah.
But between between sessions, he would text them one by one and say, "You're not the mimic." but none of them was the mimic.
Yeah. That is good. That is funny. That's good.
It was still with comments of like people enraged and thrilled and all that stuff. I thought that was too funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they, that's right. Cause like, hey, maybe Merlin can get us home. Maybe Merlin can teach her, dipshit magician how to, use magic. So they go up. Merlin's this guy, by the way, and Merlin's bald.
Is Merlin in D&D? He's owned by somebody else, I guess.
No, Merlin's not in D&D. There's a famous character. I mean, he was, in the Baldur's Gate games, all 3. Elfminster.
Is Merlin from something I should remember?
King Arthur.
Thank you.
Yeah, Merlin.
I felt really stupid when I asked you who was in D&D. I'm like, okay, he's in something.
Yeah, Elfminster is kind of the big, because I think it's like this one of like the original kind of big cheeses. It was Elfminster was like his character. So Elfminster's like Can Eyes. He's in all 3 Baldur's Gate games. He's kind of closest thing to Merlin. I think the Merlin that it would have.
Yeah, and basically what the plot of this first episode is that once upon a time, long time ago, Merlin did a spell that like saved a nearby town from having they went crazy with dragons.
Yes,
like this town was getting just fucking roasted by dragons constantly.
Yeah.
Merlin did a spell that accidentally killed him, but stopped the dragons from he thought ever coming back.
Yeah, and so like they get up there, and guess who's found them already? Tiamat. And so like Barbarian decides that I think I want to roll a new character. And so he's like, all right, guys, you guys hide away. I'm going to solo Tiamat.
Oh, one thing that also is the Barbarian's like 12.
Yeah. The Barbarian's like a younger sibling.
The rest of them are kind of supposed to be meant to be kind of maybe freshman, sophomore, high
Yeah.
school kind of thing. This is one of their brothers, and he's like 12.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I think the Barbarian's the rogue's brother.
I think you're right.
And so so obviously he does that. It's a kid show, and he doesn't get hurt, but it's just kind of like they have in a kid show there's like a bottomless pit or whatever, like bottomless dungeon, and they cleverly trap Tiamat down in there.
Yeah, it trapped Tiamat down in there. Yeah, basically they used the mage to get a rug, and it was really funny.
Yeah, and so like if I were Merlin, I'd be pissed. Well, now we knew later on that. But basically Merlin's like, yeah, I can teach you all about being my apprentice, and eventually learn how to go home. It's gonna take years, but you're gonna have to leave your group, Wizzy. And Wizzy's like, I thought Wizzy was really quick to want to say, all right, fuck you, I'll bye.
Yeah. No, I have a question I think I know the answer to, but it's gonna make Ivan not feel so great about himself, Charles.
Yeah.
When did you know Merlin was Venger?
Oh,
Right
no,
away.
I didn't know right away.
Okay.
I thought
Because I was way late on that.
no, not right away. Like by that point, I thought that I mean, I did not. It's not something I pegged right away.
I didn't get it till way after someone in his 40s should. Because if you haven't watched these episodes before, my brother tends to be like when he watches a horror movie and it's supposed to be like some big twist, he knows normally within 15, 20 minutes of the movie, okay, that's the killer. Basically. But like, I wrote Merlin kind of sucks.
and
I wrote, because basically he's like, hey, I need your magic user to stay with me forever. And like you said, the kid quickly says yes.
Yeah. Like I figured he was
And-
the bad guy. I didn't like connect an Avenger.
No,
Like I mean, he's the bad. You know, he's gonna be the bad. And then like basically, it's like, all right, you know, you do this shit. I'm gonna go here, and leaves alone. Like, all right,
but also I took it to be funny that the mage abandons the rest of his party
Yeah.
like 2 days in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah. Yeah, and so Wizzy does it. He thinks he's doing a spell to go, but you know, Merlin, aka Avenger, has tricked him. It's basically it. Really, the party has just fucked over that town.
Oh,
The
yeah,
dragons are all
basically-
released again. And,
Yeah, basically the Venger Merlin needs basically that mage's hat to reset the spell, basically.
Yep. And so, like the party goes, "Oh shit, we gotta go get Wizzy," and then they're trying to figure out, "Oh, how do we save the day?" So what they do, because Avengers, has the hat, like, I got it now, and you guys are all screwed. They, hey, you know what? Let's release Venger's enemy, and so they release Tiamat.
Yeah,
from
and
it.
so it's Tiamat versus Venger.
Yeah, and Tiamat saves the day.
Yeah, because Tiamat's, he's probably like level 20.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then like the dungeon master's like, dungeon master's kind of a dick. And you see this as the one character who has a like really developed personality because it's kind of single trait is like the fighter. The fighter's a dick.
Oh, yeah,
the fighter's a jackass.
the
And he
fighter-
hates the DM.
He hates the DM. He really doesn't like many people's party. I think he was maybe one guy's friend who just sort of, there was an extra spot on the roller coaster and he just
Yeah.
sort of ended up here.
Yeah, and also I think it was in episode 2 that we got. It was a small line. We learned he's actually a spoiled rich kid.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a small line in episode 2. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Which already,
this track.
okay, with them mentioning he's a spoiled rich kid, you know what it does, Charles?
Huh.
Already gives more character development than our previous movie.
Yeah, exactly. Back when we did check out last episode earlier this month when we did Galaxy of Terror. Yeah, that's more character development. You're absolutely right. Between that and Wizzy being full of self-doubt about his abilities.
It's 1,000% more than was in
Yeah.
Galaxy of Terror.
It's amazing. You can add character development even if your episode 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which is what they were. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yep.
So basically that's kind of the end of the first episode. We're gonna, and then second episode,
Eye of the Beholder.
second, the Beholder is another classic D&D enemy. It's there in several of the editions. It's on the cover. It's big old.
Also, was one of those Forgotten Realm games. We never really played it, but it was another one of those Forgotten Realm games in the 80s too.
Yeah, big old circular enemy guy. One huge eye, and he's got little technical things that all have eyes on the.
Really well designed.
Yeah. There's in the D&D world, there's a very, very famous one in a town, and it's called Waterdeep, where he's very famously like rules one of the gangs, and like he has a goldfish that he's like that's his pet, that he's actually that's like the only thing he cares about in the world. The reality he doesn't realize though that goldfish keeps dying. It's not immortal. It's just a fucking goldfish, and so his like minions, like the members of the gang, just like replace the goldfish, so that they don't realize that the Beholder. I think it's Xanathar.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So again, they choose another well-known, enemy, well-known, that good design, and that can kind of adapt to the will,
Yep.
and also like again another.
But also
Easter
that
egg.
this is before like all the future like editions of D&D. So I think they also had kind of free reign
Yeah.
to do what they wanted with him too. They let them add something
Yeah.
for it's a character that was well designed. It's going to look cool. It's going to look cool to kids watching it, but also for the D&D fans that might give it a try, it
Yeah.
gives them, hey, I know that.
Yeah. And so they're wandering in the desert. They encounter a big old huge monster scorpion thing, and they run, and then they run into another dragon. And they say, "This is Dungeons and Dragons after all."
Yep.
It kind of like they think
It's a blue dragon.
yeah, they think a knight saves the day, but the reality was
The knight's kind of a scared wuss.
Yeah, he's a scared little bitch. He kind of takes credit, and so and so that's kind of the opening. And we find out, this is where we find out that the that Eric the Fighter is, a spoiled rich kid.
Yeah, and again, we're kind of making jokes about Galaxy of Terror, but in truthful, I like how they don't like just spit all this shit out to you in like one
Yeah.
episode. They kind of give little piecemeal, because then you'll see his character will just sort of act like that. Is it over the top? Probably a little bit, but that's what it's meant. It's been kind of meant to be, so that, let's say, because back then, because nowadays a lot of times if you're watching like One Piece or any of these like animes, one leads into another. These were all written for the point of you could watch any
Yeah.
episode on its own and have not know anything about anything else, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, and so here we get, Dungeon Master gets a little like, ooh, I think I know a way for you to go home, and he gives another dumb shit riddle instead of saying what he.
Good lord, if this wasn't a cartoon, this DM is just murdering his party at level 1.
I got exactly right. Episode 1, Tiamat, and like a Vecna knockoff. Episode 2, a Beholder. Like,
Well, even the giant fucking scorpion.
Yeah, like it's fucking.
Is that
brutal.
Blue Dragon supposed to be probably lightning? I would assume.
Blue dragon. Well, blue dragons are also not all dragons are. I think blue dragons
they're
are
not
also
color
no,
coordinated.
no, not all dragons are bad. Blue dragons typically a good, usually a good.
So it's possible that Blue Dragon was trying to save them.
Yeah, very possible. In the data, at least I know in current editions, blue dragons are typically good. Like that, I think like bronze, gold. There's some of the dragons like they'll rip you apart if you fuck with them, but they're good. They're like lawful good, or at least lawful neutral, stuff like that. So like basically they gotta go to this beholder.
And it's like, hey, they have to walk east. That's where the beholder is.
And then like they're told, the DM's like, in order to go forward, you gotta look behind. And the barbarian being a dumbass kid in the kid show is like he's trying to like walk backwards while looking turn around, like I'm trying to look behind while walking forward. Like,
you're taking it too literal, dude. I thought that was funny, because basically what the plot of this one is the beholder is basically watching the gate home. Is basically what it is.
Yeah, and so basically they realize that, it's looking back, it means the knight. The knight's gonna help them. That they don't realize is a fucking coward. And then so they're going they get attacked by snails.
Yeah, they attacked by snails in what looks like a mushroom forest.
Yeah, they get their ass kicked by those snails.
Yeah, those snails kick the shit. Thankfully, this is an era where you can't actually hurt each other, or else those snails will also wipe the goddamn party.
Oh yeah, and so they all get put in sacks,
And this is one of the times where Uni gets frustrated.
Yes, and this is again 1980s animation, so it's kind of what I'm not saying this as a knock. Again, you gotta look at the times. But when the snails were going by with the sacks, I didn't go back and count, but it felt like there was way too many damn sacks. For a shot or two, it felt like there was 9 snails with sacks. Maybe there wasn't, and I was just wrong. And again, either way, it's not a big deal. It's a children's cartoon.
Well, and also
we don't need absolute perfect continuity in 1983 kids cartoon.
Well, and also these were hand drawn.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
the fact that, let's say it wasn't caught in first, when they first started sketching stuff out, it would have been an awful pain in the ass to redo. It wouldn't have been worth. And this is me guessing. My guess is always that wouldn't have been worth the cost of no. Because there was one thing like that I noticed in the next episode.
Yeah, again, that's just more if you're younger watching this and go back and you go and watch it, it's just and these are pre-computer basically period. Computers in 1983 they existed in some circle. They really wasn't PC because we kind of had the first wave of PC computers a few years later.
Because we moved here in moved here in 93. And we had it probably 88, maybe.
Yeah,
88.
And
it was
4 colors.
Four colors. It felt amazing because we got to play games on it. Basically, was the thing.
So back in those days, animation. Use your hand. Yeah. That's what it was. Drawing it over and over and over again.
Which is why, and this is something I don't know why it was on my damn TikTok feed. There was someone complaining about Jungle Book. Have you seen the Jungle Book Peter Pan thing? There's a part where in Jungle Book, whatever the name of the main character, the little boy in Jungle Book, he's like walking to the left, and
Yeah.
it's the exact same animation as Peter Pan.
Oh, I'm not
Apparently,
surprised.
what they used to do is like
Yeah,
reuse a lot of that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, I've seen that in different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reuse. Yeah, reuse stock. That like famous episode, like GI Joe, like famous episode of Community. There's a GI Joe episode, and it might be one of the best episodes. But they make a comment on like the stock. They make a clever joke on like reusing. It's like, oh, that's real. That just feels lazy. Redoing it. And a really cheap animation technique. Just like, so, but that was common. Just save money.
Yeah, and
Common save money kind of thing. So, like, again, Uni kind of gets pissed. Uni has to fucking save the day. I wrote down, like, Uni, you should be the one that's a knight. So he frees him, and, we find out Wizzy still kind of sucks at being a wizard.
Yep. And the part we kind of skipped over slightly is they had a quick thing, but I think before they got captured, where John, the knight John, has to he goes back to his town. He's like, hey, you have to do this. You have to do something cool, basically, to keep your job.
Yeah, because you fucking suck.
Because you fucking suck. And John has a kid.
Yep.
Okay. And so at this part, John's now out in the woods trying to find something to do that's cool.
Yeah.
I wrote, who is watching John's kid?
Yeah.
I wrote that here.
Yeah,
Because
hey,
John's
prophetic,
kid,
right?
John's kid looks like younger than the barbarian.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's like, and so again, he happens to be there. And they think basically that he helped save them from the snails. And basically, and also they're like, hey, yeah, you're gonna help us, with the beholder. He's like, what?
Yeah, and basically, and what ends up happening is that Venger talks to John. Venger has kidnapped John's kid, and it's like, hey, you need to take him there and just leave him there.
Yeah.
basically what, and I'll give you back your kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Which my guess is this was kind of skirting the old lines.
Yeah.
of
So
the
like,
rules at the time.
Yep. So yeah, Venger kidnaps the kid. So he's like, all right. So he does exactly that. Kind of leaves them, at the mercy of the beholder.
Yep. And Venger lets the boy go.
And the boy like immediately goes running towards, he hears them, immediately runs towards the beholder. And so Knight's like, all right, I'll be a hero. And then he runs and he immediately gets, captured too. Well, captured, but he fights out of it.
He fights out of it, and basically, because they beat the beholder. This is the part I forget.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So
because they beat the beholder with basically a MacGuffin.
They had said like, Beauty will get rid of the beholder, and like,
and
the flower.
The acrobat lady had given John the knight a flower early on and said, hey, basically that makes the beholder poisonous, and that gets rid of the beholder. But one thing I thought was cool, I thought the ending to this was cool.
Yeah.
Because they have a portal that's going to take them home. Obviously, this is episode 2 of a cartoon.
Yeah.
They're not going to get home. But, like, they start to look at going home, but they realize, and I think this is another time where they're setting up, like, backstory for these characters, is that they're looking at it, and they're going to go home, but they look and see if they go home, that John and his kid are going to die.
Well, no, because Beholder is because Uni.
Oh.
Yeah, it was John and his kid. It was John and his kid, but it was also Uni.
Yeah.
That Uni could not go with them.
Uni couldn't go with them.
Yeah.
But, like, basically, it was Venger or someone.
Yeah, Venger
was going to wipe them all out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, hey, they didn't feel right about going back home. Even the spoiled brat kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought like that, and I also thought the Beholder for a kid's show was pretty accurate for a kid's show. The look, I was not too hard to get the look, but also like a thing about the Beholder is basically a lot of eye beams, and that's kind of what it was doing, which I thought was kind of cool. And then everything, because like the Beholder would cause the land all die, everything comes back instantly. Yeah. And that's pretty much kind of what we're at. And, once again, Venger fails, and
And once again, Venger fails. It's gonna lead us to the next one because that portal closes pretty quick. My guess, and my guess is this is gonna come up every now and then. They'll almost get home.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
Next one is episode 3, Hall of Bones. The group is running from flying monkeys.
Yep. And
they go to turn to fight kind of the flying monkeys, and their stuff's not working.
Yep, all their weapons are drained, so they're kind of fucked.
And they need a battery recharge, girls.
Yeah, and then we see that like the bad guy, and we notice already that the bad guy Venger is out of the game.
Venger had sent the monkeys. Basically, the
Yeah.
monkeys weren't there to hurt them. The monkeys were there to take their weapons and
Yep.
hats and all that shit, basically.
Yeah, and so we go. Dungeon Master kind of tells, yeah, you gotta. I was right. You gotta recharge your weapons at the Hall of Bones, and so that's kind of our,
And
kind
he
of
gives
our
it
task for this
and,
episode.
And in true DM fashion, he kind of gives them a riddle that's really hard to follow to figure out where to go and all that shit. But
Yeah, and so again, I wrote down here again. The party has really just gotten dropped into the shit right away. I mean, it's been rough going. So like the monkeys and Venger come back again, and then Venger, he does it. He succeeds. He gets all the weapons.
except
He gets pissed off because they're drained, and so he throws them all back. Kind of funny. He's like, I got them all. Sucks to be the cartoon's over. I won. And like, wait, none of this shit works. Yeah, screw it. Yeah. Again, kids cartoon. I thought I enjoy that.
no, yeah, I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, they get to a town. They need to get a guide.
Because they also realize they don't have any money to pay the guy. The guide,
Yeah.
for some reason, the guide wants to be paid for his time.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
of her time.
Eric tries to be a bard, and he
Right.
is not a bard.
He is not a bard. He tries to do stand up for the crowd.
Yeah, yeah, which is
The crowd is not impressed.
that was funny. And so Wizzy, aka Presto's his actual name, basically
The magic user guy.
sucking at magic is profitable.
Because they thought what he was trying to do out of his hat was cool, and so he got some pity coin from the crowd.
Yeah. And so, like, again, Eric being, kind of an idiot, is like, oh, let's go to this really seedy
Bar.
looking bar in order to get our, our guide. And, like, all of them are, like, look like surly, nefarious types, and none of them speak human. And like, a ranger's like, don't we want someone that's gonna speak human? Like, and they're like, oh, no, it'll be fine. Like, immediately, like, he's like kind of fucked. And then like because he gives them all their money and all the money because he's scared, and they throw a big old sack of bottle caps. Here, take this. And I'm kind of like, hey, where do they get all those bottle caps? But hey, if it was Fallout, that would have been very profitable. Very profitable. So yeah, they don't really get a guide, right? At least not in the town.
No.
So so they end up leaving the town. And what happens next? They start going and they meet a guide on the way.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean a guy that doesn't seem nefarious whatsoever.
No.
The little halfling,
Yep.
gnome guy, he's like, yeah, I will make sure to I'll lead you to the Hall of Bones, for the right price, like that I won't, that I'll name later on, right now the time's the only thing I need from you. Like the party, like your warning bells aren't going off. Like, all right, this is clearly, we watched episode 1. This is obviously like, and this is clearly like, Venger, like there was like a shadow like minion in this episode. So I actually thought, okay, it might be the shadow minion, because he kind of heard them talking about, the Hall of Bones.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought, okay, well maybe it's them. But either way, yeah, obviously it was not just a nice gnome halfling guy.
No.
But they do get to the Hall of Bones.
They do get to the Hall of Bones.
Yeah. And it's really just like it's like a skull, and they just put their weapons in the skull.
Put their weapons in the skull, and it recharges it practically instantly.
And we're like, well, how many times are they gonna have to do this? This is episode 3.
It's one of the. I'm like, how often is their shit gonna like power? Are they gonna have to come back here constantly to do this?
Yeah, but they do mention lasts for 300 years.
Oh.
There was a line that like, yes, the recharge lasts for 300 years. Like, oh, see, again, we talked about one little line says, okay, therefore it's not going to be something that's going to be a recurring thing. And again, Venger's like, all right, you recharge your weapon. Come on. but then like all the people that used to hold the weapons or something like that attack Avenger.
Yeah, because basically they all jump inside the skull themselves, and it powers up all
Yeah.
these people that I think that used to have the weapons,
Yeah,
or
kinda like
died
the-
in the hall.
Yeah, spirits and whatnot. And they like good spirits, and like they attack Avenger and they teleport our party.
Yep.
Our party out of there. And so once again, another, all's, they succeed and all's well that ends so well.
Mhm.
Avengers, defeated for the moment, and they're ready for their next adventure, whatever episode 4 was.
Yep.
So, and that's Dungeons and Dragons. So
Dungeons and Dragons.
So our rating scale, we have diamonds and we have duds. Within the diamond scale is a good, legitimately good film. It can go anywhere from 1 to 5. 1 being it's entertaining, but probably not gonna revisit it. All the way up to 5, classic. Dud is it's bad, but it can be like either unwatchable 1, or it can be guilty pleasure, or like so bad it's so good territory. Where is this for you?
For me, it's a diamond,
Mhm.
and it's a 2.5.
Yep. Why did you think it was a diamond?
I think it's a diamond because for me, it's instantly rewatchable. I think part of it also is a couple factors. One, playing D&D, it felt like I related a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But also, like, playing the shit in the 80s, I was remembering a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff. I was remembering a lot of the stuff, too.
Yeah, and same. It is a diamond for me. It's a diamond number 3, and just like nostalgic. As like you said, as a D&D player, as a kid who grew up not on this show. On this show, I didn't know for years that there was one until very recently. But like it's brings back G.I. Joe, which we watched tons of, and a lot of other those He-Man. They're just kind of shows of the 80s show, and it kind of feels like that. And as well as a D&D player, like we've talked about, there's some Easter eggs in there. There's some,
which
they at least there's some attention paid to the lore.
1,000%. Plus, this makes people want to rewatch that Chris Pine D&D movie again.
That movie is
Also, for anybody still watching that was fans of those 80s cartoons, I think my brother knows this. If you go to the Hasbro YouTube channel, they air G.I. Joe cartoons on a 24-hour basis. Because like YouTube now, like you can just air live shit. They just air the cartoons 24/7.
Yeah. By the way, related to cartoons, I mentioned briefly earlier Ninja Turtles. Did you realize that the Ninja Turtles show went on for 12 years?
Oh wow! No.
Like it went in pretty deep into us living here. Like it started like in the late 80s. Like apparently like Shredder's not even in like the last 5 years. It's like other Mad Baggers. I just thought that was like most cartoons are short, contained a couple of seasons. Yeah, it went on a long time.
Wow,
that's
cool.
So next time, what do we got coming down the pike? Next time
we got a movie I'm surprised I haven't seen. Warcraft, based off the popular game series Warcraft, and more to the point, World of Warcraft. Yep.
So tune in next time for that.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff we're supposed to say. Let us know in the comments what you want us to watch next.
Yep.
And we will see everybody in the next one.
Have a good one. Bye.